Every time I want to do something new, I'm like, but can I? Because I'm blind. What's up, loves? It's your favorite blind girl back on your screen with another one. In this video, the topic is highly requested. We're talking about how to stay mentally healthy, living life legally blind. I like to look at legally blind as a layer on top of everything. So your first layer is this really delicious, moist sponge cake. Can you tell I'm hungry? That is life. Then you layer onto it your friendships and your family stuff. Then you put another sponge cake layer. That's, career, work, aspirations, goals. And then you ice the whole cake with legally blind. What I'm trying to say with my hungry mind is that everything you do, everything you experience, just add legally blind after it. Whether you're in a relationship or you're applying for a job or you're going to school or you're trying to share how you feel as a legally blind person with your family, it always comes back to losing sight. And because of that, it's so important for us to not neglect, to not ignore, to not pretend, to not be in denial, but not over-exaggerate that very important aspect of our lives. So with all that said, we're going to get into these 7 major keys. Let me know down below which key applies to you most, and let's go. The first one, because we're going to start from the easiest things to do to the hardest, is to take a break. If you're a busy bee, overachiever, perfectionist, this key is for you. When you're losing sight, it doesn't matter what stage or phase you're at, it's hard. And in order for you to be able to see things clearly, you're gonna have to give yourself a Kit Kat break. That means taking a nap, taking a step back, reassessing things, giving yourself the permission to be. How often do we just let things be? We live in such a time and a culture of go, 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 and having to do and having to prove and having to show. But how often do we just take a break? Whether you're building a brand, going to school, in a relationship, sometimes it's good to just step back, take a moment to look at the bigger picture so that you can come back into things with more clarity. Especially when you're losing sight, you need to give yourself that pause, that moment to be like, wait, how am I feeling right now? How is this affecting me? And how can I be more fulfilled going forward? If you don't give yourself breaks, you get burnt out. And how can you be your best self in a relationship or in a job or when you're going to school or when you're on an adventure if you're not fulfilled? Your cup has to be full in order to give some and let it overflow to others. Taking a break can also be very literal. Sometimes at work, I get overwhelmed because the job is not hard, but no matter what industry I've ever been in, it's always either super busy or it's dead and I wish it was busier. Sometimes you need to give yourself the permission to take things slow, especially as when you're losing vision, some things just inevitably are going to take you a longer time. When you take a break mentally, you are giving yourself the ability to realize where you're at and not judge yourself. Taking a break means realizing that it's going to take you longer to scroll across a screen or to finish a book or a project or to take in something visually. From slowing things down to speeding them up, exercise is my second major key. You know me, I like to work out every single day, but maybe that's not your gem. Maybe 5 times a week or 3 times a week. Just get busy. It's so important. As you know, endorphins get released and that helps you feel better in life. Not only becoming physically fit, but mentally fit as well. When you work out, you're challenging yourself, you're pushing your edge, you're finding a new way to express yourself each time. It could be going to the gym, although I hate it, I do it 4 times a week, or it could be doing yoga. It could be going to dance class. It could be jogging. It could be anything that gets the blood flowing and proves to yourself with every step, with every punch, with every weight being lifted, with every dance move, every booty shake, whatever it is, that you are proving to yourself that you are capable. The thing about being disabled that sucks the most is that it takes away a sense of yourself. And with that sense of self sometimes comes this feeling of not being good enough or worthy enough or capable. But when you work out and you get moving, it makes you realize that for how much sight you've lost or still have, that you can still do things with your body physically. It's an empowering feeling. Building on that, meditation. For all my namaste yoga fairies, meditation, mindfulness is key. This is like key 1, where it's giving you the option and the permission to be. to be still, to acknowledge your thoughts, to know and be aware of where you're at. Because I'm living with a degenerative disease, things are always constantly changing for me. I'm always adapting, and it gets exhausting, and I've shared with you from before. It's frustrating AF. That's why I try to meditate daily. It could be 3 minutes, it could be 30 seconds if it's a really hard day, it could be hours if needed. But take the time, just a few moments out of every day, to just sit and be still and be silent. If you prefer, you can do a guided meditation or with music. The idea is just to observe yourself. A body scan is a great way to start. All you do is close your eyes, and for a couple moments, you scan your body from head to toe so you know what it feels like to be in your body at that time. Notice how your skin feels, if you have an itch on your right arm, or if your stomach is grumbling because you're hungry. Whatever it is, you're just acknowledging what it's like to be present in your body. If you're not all woo-woo like me, do a meditation walk. All you gotta do is take a walk around the block, or if you're going somewhere, to really be in the moment. Be conscientious and aware. That means notice what it feels like for your shoes to hit the sidewalk pavement. The trees and the leaves rustling as we fall into this autumn season. For as much as you can see, take in the sights and the sounds and the smells. Just be completely engulfed in the sensory perception of what it's like to walk, to go somewhere, to be in this moment and embody that. When you do that, your mind can't go so far in the future or fall into the past. And it creates this habit of wherever you go, you take yourself there. And in taking yourself there, you should fully be there. Just anything that immerses you in an experience will help ground you so that when things get hectic, you know how to slow them down and to be present. 4 is for friendship or any sense of building community, whether it's family ties or getting your coworkers to get it for the umpteenth time. We have to create this perception for other people. Not this perception that we're so strong and we're so capable and we can do it all on our own. No. That doesn't help anyone. I've been there, I've done that. There needs to be this understanding, whether it's letting your family member know what you're really going through, even if you're worried that it's going to make them anxious. It's better that they know and understand so that when it's time, when you need help, they can actually help you. Same goes on the flip side, whether it's family, friends, relationship, coworker. You want to make sure that you are authentically you in every situation you're in so that when you build this sense of community, it's real. It's not just an idea of who you think you should be or what people want you to be as a visually impaired person. It is what it is. There's going to be moments when you're strong and you're proud of yourself, and there's moments when you're going to feel weak and incapable. Being honorable to yourself and having the humility and vulnerability to share that with someone who deserves to know that is going to strengthen your connection with yourself and with others. To take it to another level, losing your sight is hard. There is no going around it. You lose a sense of yourself on top of losing your sight. It's the trippiest thing. And you're going to need to have people around you that get it. Seek out people that are going through the same thing as you or something similar. It is so crazy on this journey how much people have shared with me. I wish I could tell you all of the stories, but things that have nothing to do with Stargardts, people have confessed and confided in me because I've been real enough to share my struggles with them. When you open yourself up to the right people, it opens you up to the opportunity of feeling connected in ways that will help you feel less lonely. We may not be able to see eye to eye on this visual impairment situation, but we can still reach a ground of understanding. 5 is my favorite. I've mentioned it a million times before. Can you guess what this is? I challenge anyone who's watched the Struggling with Stargardts playlist to guess before I say it. Here's a hint. GPP. Gratitude, positivity, and presence. Those 3 things have been the only reason why I can smile to you on a camera, that I can talk to you freely about the struggles of Stargardts. Learning to be grateful, not crazy, optimistic, grateful. I have learned the hard way, and I've told you in other videos that when I was depressed at 25, it's because I was so far into what my past was and what I thought the future was going to be. Gratitude grounded me right here, right now. Gratitude reminded me that although things aren't as I want them to be and may never be that way, I still have a lot to be thankful for and appreciative of in this moment. And gratitude is infectious. People can feel when you're gratitudous. Is that the word? You know what I'm trying to say. People can sense that. The best thing you can do for yourself and those around you is be grateful in spite of your sight loss. Be grateful for what you can still see. Be grateful for what you can still do. Even if life isn't at all what you wanted it to be and your dreams that you had can't be, doesn't mean it can't still be beautiful. But if you're not grateful, how can you find those opportunities and create those experiences for yourself? It is gratitude where everything starts. It's the foundation of finding a fulfilling life. Then there is positivity. I am the princess of positivity. I crowned myself a couple years ago only because I was the biggest pessimist you would have ever met. I don't know if it was divine intervention or just a cruel sense of humor the universe has, but God's like, we're going to give this girl Stargardt disease and let her know that this whole negativity thing she's on, that's not going to work going forward, because you can't afford to be negative when you're losing sight. It's just the worst combination. When you're positive, that's where the potential is. Because when you're positive, you can see things differently. The last of the GPP is, of course, presence, which is another incredibly impactful thing. If you want to deal with something like a degenerative disease with grace, you have to stay in this moment. Everything that matters, everything that is real is right here, right now. What happened to you in the past isn't anymore. What's going to happen will only be if you focus on this moment. You have to. This is not an if, and, or but. You have to stay present. Without sharing too much, when I was first diagnosed, I was in denial. Then once it hit me, I just wanted to go back to an easier time when I didn't know what Stargardt disease was, when I didn't have to go to see the optometrist, when I didn't have to think about, maybe I should be planning for my future. Then one day, I didn't snap out of it. This happened to me with much resistance. I realized the only way I'm going to survive, and I don't mean to sound so serious, but this is actually very serious. The only way I was going to survive this is if I stayed present as possible. It's not doable every day, every moment, all the time, but I practice staying present as much as I can, because once you get into thoughts about what could have been for your future or what was when you could see better, that's when you fall. It's not about plateauing. Mental health is going to be like health in general, where it goes up and down. But instead of it being a roller coaster, let's get it to a wave. You're going to have good days and bad days. But staying gratuitous, positive, and present keeps you in this moment. It keeps you where everything that ever matters is, so that even if you look a little bit in the future, you still have the gaze of being positive. You still have the perception that the present is all that matters, and you're still grateful for what was, what is, and what may be. We are on a roll, though. I told you this is going to get harder. Challenge yourself. This is something that I've been doing in the last 2 years. It is so hard to do because every time I want to do something new, I'm like, but can I? Because I'm blind. As I said before, one of the hardest parts of losing sight is losing a sense of self. And you don't want to really rock the boat too much by challenging yourself, by doing new things or going back to old things. But guess what? You're going to have to, because the option is nothing. The option is going backwards. The option is not growing. And if you've been on my channel for any amount of time, I'm always about growth. Look at the plants here. So in order to grow and develop your sense of self and have a better perception of your character, you have to challenge yourself daily. That could be something as small as I'm going to try a new recipe, or be something as big as I'm going to do this crazy new activity even though I'm afraid of heights. Whatever it is, challenge yourself, because more often than not, what's going to happen from this is you're going to build confidence. And one of the things that everyone who's ever commented, DM'd, emailed, messaged me about has said is Stargardt disease has really played with their confidence. Who you thought you were isn't anymore. But if you build your confidence, if you remind yourself that you're still capable and you're able, and that every single day you try in a little way to challenge yourself, you'll be okay. The 7th tip is to do things now. This is the hardest because you don't want to get too far in the future and be like, what can I do today that I won't be able to do in 10 years? But you do want to be realistic enough to say, my vision's gotten this bad so far. So let's see what I can do today, so I'm not looking back and being like, dang, I should have done that before. The worst thing that you can do to yourself is regret things. Have the foresight so that you're not thinking about, oh, looking back in hindsight that I should have, could have, would have, but didn't. Doing things today that you may not be able to do tomorrow means just being realistic with what is. It could be, you know, reading as many books as you can so that you don't have to stress yourself out later with reading on your phone or a tablet. It could be taking long drives, because who knows when you may or may not have a license. If the Rona's taught us anything, it's that the only certainty is uncertainty. And because of that, a lot of us have been able to manage this strange world crisis so well because we deal with mini crises in ourselves. But don't forget that not only every day should you challenge yourself, every day you should remember that what is may not be and nothing is guaranteed. Bonus key is comedy. I wanted to give an extra key for all of you who made it to the end of this video. So it's about being light and laughing at life. This is, you know, I have a sixth sense of humor. You probably don't get it from my YouTube channel. It's kind of hard when you're talking to a camera versus a person. But on the daily, I'm making blind jokes. Like a couple weeks ago, I went on a date and this guy's like, oh, I saw on the gram you made a video about not dating blind people. Why is that? I'm like, have you ever heard of the blind leading the blind? He was laughing so hard. I'm like, yo, that's not even that funny though. But I'm always making little jokes about my sight loss. People are like, did you see that? I'm like, nope, I don't see much. You forgot I can't see, right? And it's funny watching their reaction. Like sometimes people I don't know will be like, oh, X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, but I'm blind though. And they're like, huh? And then watching them be so apologetic makes me laugh because it's like, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I have had people react so strangely to my sight loss that I can't help but laugh. Sometimes I make light of the situation, not only to make the other person comfortable, but the alternative is that if I don't laugh, I would cry. And I'd rather laugh. I've been there before where someone's made a comment and I've cried over it. I just don't like being that person. If I'm gonna cry, let me cry about something I need to work through myself, not someone's perception of me. I prefer to use all the sight puns. I'm sure you could tell there was a lot about perspective, vision, clarity in this video. Just keep it light and airy. It's the best way to be, honestly. So anyway, that wraps up this video. Let me know which major key you'll use first. And if you haven't already, subscribe and like. It really helps the channel grow. Share with someone you care about that needs to hear this the most. And until next time, stay sane, stay blessed, stay safe. Love and later. Spinach matcha smoothie looks nasty, but it's actually so blessed.